Chautauqua sing-alongs, patch cords, football pep rallies, double-button carbon microphone, play-by-play announcing, a 2,000-foot transmitter tower, the old cathedral radio, management, family life, changing locations, and teeing off on the 18th hole. These are all aspects of a life that has been instrumental in the creation of the broadcasting industry, truly one of the pioneers. Dietrich Dirks has seen the golden age of radio turn into the influential medium it is today, and television blossom into the largest entertainment informational industry known. Dietrich Dirks is originally from Nebraska, born in the southeast corner of the state near Auburn on July 14th in 1902. Dietrich graduated from Hildreth High School in 1920, then continued his education at the University of Nebraska, choosing business administration as his major course of study.
You and I, Versatile, Nebraska. Oh, my, N-E-B-R-A-S-K-U. Oh, there is no place like Nebraska. Dear old Nebraska, you, where the girls are.
Dee, as he was known to most people, was multi-talented and made his mark at UNL by helping to introduce the popular game day song, There Is No Place Like Nebraska. As part of a quartet wearing white pants and using megaphones, Dee and his fellow Glee Club members sang as this tune made its debut at a football game in the fall of 1924. After graduation in 24, Dee spent time traveling around the country, singing at various Chautauqua functions. Shortly after his tours ended, he landed his first broadcasting job at KFAB Radio in Lincoln. Not only was KFAB his first broadcasting career opportunity, but KFAB was also where Dietrich met his wife, Ada. Ada Bell had worked at other radio stations, then went to KFAB where she met Dietrich. A romance ensued, and they were married in Lincoln on December 2nd, 1936. Dee and Ada then had 2 children, John and Linda. John is now located in Sioux City, and Linda resides in Poway, California. Eventually, Dee enjoyed a full-time career at KFAB and moved up to program director, working under Gail Grubb. He got a taste of on-air work at KFAB as one of his duties included play-by-play football announcing. Dee's hard work paid off, and after about a year as program director, he became manager at KFAB. Dee was a personable man who made friends wherever he went. Longtime friend and co-worker Alvin Smith remembers working with Dee.
Well, I first met Dee at KFAB in Lincoln, Nebraska, where I was a radio operator. I didn't even consider myself an engineer in those days. As the man behind the controls to keep things running, so to speak. I worked in master control and did some studio work, and also worked out to the transmitter. And Dee was the big boss. He was the man that kept the place running. That was back in 1936, I think is correct. And any time that I wanted anything from Dee, all I had to do was ask, and that was it. And we worked very closely together through the years.
In the 30s, Dietrich took a trip up to Sioux City, Iowa. He seemed to have liked what he found because Dee, in conjunction with the Kelly family, decided to start a new station. In 1935, Sioux City's second radio station, KTRI, went on the air. Dee later moved north and worked as KTRI's general manager. After approximately 10 years, Dietrich Dirks started making plans for the third Sioux City radio station. By 1948, KCOM was on the air, and Dietrich took up post as KCOM's general manager-president. Coincidentally, at that time, Dee's friend Al Smith had also moved north and was working at KSCJ, Sioux City's first radio station.
My second connection, so to speak, with Dee was in Sioux City. He came to Sioux City in conjunction with the Tribune newspaper to build a radio station. Anyhow, we had to survey the land from the very beginning, build a building, put in the equipment, and I was working on that end while Dee was lining up programming, studios, and people to run the station.
In 1954, Dee sold his interests in KCOM as he was experimenting with a new aspect of the broadcasting industry, television. Dietrich Dirks and William Perkins, publisher of Sioux City's Journal newspaper, jointly applied for the Channel 4 television license in 1954. The application was approved, and Sioux City's first TV station made plans to be on the air that August 15th. Al Smith recalls the first attempt to get KTIV on the air.
Right, well, I think that's the day that stands out in my life, the day we didn't go on the air at Channel 4. We were hoping to get on the air for the World Series in 1954. I was having much difficulty in getting what I would call a decent signal. What really caused the problem was a tree between the studio tower and the transmitting tower. We had them add 40 more foot to the tower, and then we got over the tree and we went on the air about the next week. I will say we missed the World Series due to a tree.
As general manager of KTIV, Dee was a part of many firsts. KTIV was Sioux City's first TV station and boasted the country's first Vidicon camera chain. In 1959, KTIV carried NBC's first full-color series, Bonanza. That same year, KTIV News received national recognition by winning the RTNDA for Best News Story. News director Ken Wayman and Dietrich traveled to Denver to receive this national honor.
By Ken Wayman in Denver, Colorado. He made a trip there, and he brought the award back to Sioux City, the traveling trophy. And as you see in the picture, it's Dietrich Dirks and Ken Wayman, two very happy people for their endeavors.
In 1965, construction started on KTIV Channel 4 and KTVT Channel 9's joint project, a 2,000-foot antenna transmitter tower. At the time, this was the world's second largest man-made structure. During his years at KTIV, Dee also hired a young, enthusiastic broadcasting student by the name of Tom Brokaw. Tom worked at the station, gaining experience while going to classes. Tom Brokaw remembers his early days at KTIV during an interview on the Today Show.
Station in Sioux City, commercial television station, KTIV, where I did all manner of things, including Sunshine Club highlights.
Sunshine Club highlights?
I would interview various civic club members from around the community who would come in and talk to us about bake sales that they were going to be having the following Sunday, or
who's the president?
Beauty contest of one kind. That's right, all manner of things. The county fair that was coming up, the Sunshine Club highlights, brought to you by the Sunshine Food Markets.
Hi, Sunshine.
And then I would do the Miller Kidder Chevrolet commercials that night between the weather and the news. Now I want to tell you one more broadcast.
Back in 1961, I was hired by Dietrich Dirks as a kind of all-purpose man at KTIV in Sioux City. I was the booth announcer. I did commercials live in the 10 o'clock news block. I read the noon news, and I did the Saturday night news and the weather on Sunday nights. Now, I didn't do any of that terribly well, but then Mr. Dirks didn't have to pay me very much either. He was a real patriarch in our little broadcasting family, a father figure, if you will. And what I remember best about him is that he had a very strong sense of public service for the greater Siouxland area through his Channel 4 television station. It really kind of set a standard for me for what I then came to expect from other general managers along the way. I'm especially grateful to him now for giving me the opportunity when I was an untrained student from the University of South Dakota. It allowed me to complete my education and to get started in this career of a television journalist. Now, thanks to Mr. Dirks, I have been able to find other work along the way. So, Mr. D, congratulations on your election to the Nebraska Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Throughout the years and Dee's numerous pursuits, there was always an underlying dedication to the broadcast industry as a whole. He realized that the future of this industry was dependent on the pioneers of that time. Paramount on Dee's long list of ideals was the simple concept of sharing new thoughts and ideas. Cooperation between stations was a useful and necessary tool if the industry was to grow and prosper. Dietrich's son, John Dirks, talks about Dee's feeling towards the industry.
He was very excited about it. It was, to use a cliche and not coin a phrase, it was his life. He enjoyed pioneering and implementing ideas. And of course, coming from me, it would be biased, I suppose, but I don't think anybody didn't like him, or at least respect him.
While still at KFAB Radio, Dietrich Dirks, along with other industry leaders, came together to share thoughts, ideas, and experiences. From this, the Nebraska Broadcasters Association was formed. As a testament to Dietrich Dirks' commitment, he was named the first Nebraska Broadcasters Association president, holding the office in the years 34 and 35. He also made his mark on a national scale. He served 2 terms on the board of directors for the National Association of Broadcasters, was a member of the Executive Committee, chair of the NAB Research Committee, and chair of the Sales Management Committee. Dietrich Dirks was a leader in the broadcast industry. His long list of accomplishments include bringing television to the Sioux City area, his contributions both locally and nationally to broadcasting, the numerous stations directly and indirectly affected by his decisions and ideas.
As Dee's life was television and community service. Now, that may sound funny to say, put it that way, but he really reached out to the community. In the Y, he was responsible for building the Y in Sioux City, the new Y building, and dozens of other things. And for recreation, he liked to play golf.
I often, when I'm around town, somebody says, "Oh yes, I worked for your dad," or "He gave me my first job," and seem to remember him fondly.
From the earliest days of radio and TV to the present, Dietrich Dirks has continued to make an impression. The Nebraska Broadcasters Association is proud to recognize Dietrich Dirks in the Hall of Fame. Thank you for your dedication.
Mine is treat everyone fairly and always honestly.
Well, I can say in one word, he's a gentleman.